Hello, YouTube. How you doing? It's me, Chris, and I've got a new friend here. So this is Legend of Phoenix, and if you want to introduce yourself really quick.
Hey guys, I am Sarah. I go by Legend of Phoenix all over social media, and I am an independent artist.
Cool. And I do have the links in there in the place where you put links, the description. Oh my goodness. So that's cool. So we were going to talk about She-Ra for a bit, which there has been some really ridiculous controversy about. So, based on that, I went and I watched it and didn't really want to sit around and talk about a cartoon all by myself. So, I noticed that Sarah, um, who does the arts, had also sort of been talking about it. So I was like, all right, well, let's bring somebody on to talk about it with me. So that's cool. So, what did you think of it? We should start out.
Starting out, well, I got interested in it because of the controversy, but I saw a bunch of people talking crap about it, and I noticed I knew the showrunner, like I'd followed her work for a while. Like first impression overall, I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it, even though I knew I was probably gonna like it. Um, I didn't think it would be like as adult, I don't know how to say it, adult accessible as it is. So,
Yeah, so I think we could just like first off sort of review what it's like for those who don't know. She-Ra was the sort of girl version of He-Man back in the day. So they had He-Man and he was out, and then I don't know how many seasons had gone by, and then we discover that Adam, who is the He-Man character, had a twin sister that was taken away to this from Eternia to Etheria, this other planet, and he has to go in and rescue her, and then she has her own show and she becomes She-Ra. So, you know, that was that back in the 80s. It was kind of a cheesy show back then for any
yeah,
old enough,
really cheesy.
very cheesy. Um, it was literally based around, toys and selling toys.
Yeah.
So a lot of the sameness of the female characters had to do with the fact that the toys were all going to come out of the same mold. They were just going to put different colored plastic in the mold and, basically sell the same little plastic toy
Yeah.
girl characters. So they all had to look identical. Um, so now it's years later, and they have completely sort of rebooted it, and it's a based on what I saw, it was a complete elevation of the source material on like every level.
Yeah. It had so much more variety to it than the source material. And not only that, it took itself seriously,
Mm.
which I don't think the original was really allowed to do as much.
Yeah, I don't want to like bash the original, but it wasn't good. you
Yeah,
know?
I don't think it's bashing to say like it was a commercial for toys basically. They made up the storyline after they made the character designs. It wasn't the other way around.
Mm.
So I think that this one had a lot more room to experiment with that and write a whole story that arced across a season.
Which I think is one of my favorite parts of the new one is that it's not like episodic, you know,
Yeah.
like the other shows, and this was true of He-Man too. Um, they both had a certain formula, like uh,
Yeah.
see them doing something nice, and then the evil characters would come up with some plan and they'd get sucked in, and then at the end She-Ra would pull out her sword and everything would be restored to wonderfulness. And that is not what's going on here. There's a whole storyline that takes the entire season, and it progresses and the different characters progress. So it's really kind of cool. A whole
Yeah, it's not like a lesson of the day kind of thing like they did with the original, where each one was its own story. But it was this overarching thing which made me want to keep watching the next one to figure out what happened.
Yeah, they do. They tend to sometimes they put it on like a cliffhanger and sometimes they don't, but it's always sort of this story that's going to keep going on, and it's very character driven.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, unlike in the original where She-Ra had Adam come and basically rescue her, but we don't see Adam in this part at all, right? So,
Yeah.
um so she is as she was before. She had been taken by the Horde and raised by the Horde. She's raised as like a sister with Catra, um, and she's ready to become the captain or whatever. And then she sort of finds the sword and she finds out about the rebellion and she finds out about what's really going on with the Horde and that the things that she's been brought up with aren't true. So she defects. Um, and I gotta say, for me, Catra was my favorite character.
I think she really clicked. Like a lot of people I've noticed like Catra the most, and I like her a lot because she's not just. They took the original concept of Catra, which was just woman who makes meow noises every now and then,
Yeah.
to a complex character that wrestles with this a lot of different emotions over the course of the whole show. I think she has the biggest arc as far as what she's going through.
Yeah. I mean, so Adora, who's also She-Ra, like she's dealing with a lot of different things as well. Like she finds out that her life has been a lie and that she is this sort of has this superpower alter ego that she can turn into, but she's very confused about how to use that and doesn't know like what's really going on. So she's really up in the air and just trying to adjust to a whole new way of life. Going from the Horde to sort of the princess world.
Yeah.
But then Patra is just like she has this she's also grown up in this sort of abusive and gaslighting world, and but the only thing that she had to hang on to throughout it while she was being mistreated and you know uh, dealing with all this stuff is that she had this sister who was always there for her and always had her back. And so when her sister just decides to just leave and go join the rebellion, like she's completely she feels betrayed, she's angry, she's like looking also to prove herself as
Yeah.
a person. Like she's so to me, she was like just a really interesting, believable antagonist character, which is awesome.
And I think that they really did. I don't know how deep we're getting into spoiler
Mm,
territory, if we should not, or if we
yeah, probably.
if um but spoiler warning. I really like the relationship not only between the two of them and what we see later on in the series and how they grew up, but we kind of see how Shadow Weaver becomes this um abusive parent type figure for the two of them, that took them in and then gaslights them into their situation using her mind control powers and makes Shadow Weaver more than just creepy person in a hood. It's there's like a new dynamic there.
Mm. And then let's see. So the people that she meets, that Adora meets, who sort of help her move into this new world, are Bo and I'm the worst person in the world with names.
Glimmer.
Glimmer. Oh my God. And so they become her sort of her new best friends. But I also like how, as opposed to the old show where both He-Man and She-Ra had this thing like they were just super powered, right? So that once
Mhm.
He-Man came out, once She-Ra came out, it was just sort of a matter of time. Like it was them
Yeah.
going through the motions of watching them beat up the bad guys. Like, but in this reimagining, it's very much a team sort of thing. It's very much about people working together, average people coming on. Like, yeah, She-Ra's cool. She has some cool powers, but they're not. Um, there's a little bit of a sort of a greatest American hero thing that goes on
Yeah. It's not like the
where
Deus Ex Machina of the show where she transforms and everything's okay.
exactly. Yeah, like people have to sort of everybody sort of pitches in, everybody does their part. And that's actually one of the themes of the whole thing. So that was cool too because, it gets a little boring otherwise. It's just, in the old days it was kind of like, "Oh, just transform." Like
Yeah,
what are
and
you really
also I like that she had to learn how to use the powers. Like we see her go from not really sure and unconfident and not she doesn't know what to do or how they work and she's fumbling with it for a while before she really gets the hang of it. And then
Yeah.
like as she finds her confidence, she also learns how to control it.
Mm. So, yeah, and I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but there's so much about the way that they created the characters and the art that is really cool to me. Um, so first of all, I don't understand anybody who thinks this show isn't feminine or girly.
Yeah. It's covered in rainbows and glitter and princesses and so many girly things.
Yeah, and a lot of like the storylines are they're very sort of emotional,
It
you know,
is.
and just like let's all have friends together. Are we friend like,
Yeah.
it's all everyone wants to be somebody's best friend and have a rainbow sparkle prom with them.
Yeah,
Like,
the prom episode was probably the most girly of all. They even tackled like things that kids worry about when they're kids, like what little girls think.
yeah, they're all like, putting on different outfits and, being shy and, but what if the guy I like isn't going with me?
Yeah.
There are unicorn Pegasus. If there's one major criticism I have to have, it's like, why is Windfire not in every episode? Like, I don't understand that. Like, always
Swiftwind, the horse.
Swiftwind. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I told
Uh,
you I was the worst person at names, and I'm not lying.
it was kind of a blindside at like over the halfway point of the season when that happened. And it
Mm.
was like, wait, what?
So, like, all right, okay. She Swiftwind should always be there. Every
Super sassy.
Yeah, but there you go. What can you do? So that's my big criticism is that there needs to be more rainbow flying unicorn everywhere, just like in every episode. So
I'm thinking I heard that they already approved for like 3 more seasons. And so I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot more Swiftwind in the future.
that's good. I think that's absolutely a necessity and was a huge oversight. Like, um, but yeah, I mean, I think we can talk about um, one thing that I think was really cool is they did clearly, there was a clear artistic differentiation between the Horde and Etheria.
Yeah.
Like, and even the different sort of worlds in Etheria had their own look and their own aesthetic about them. Yeah.
I think just artistically in general, they did really good with the themes. Like not only the characters at first glance, you could kind of look at them and tell where they're from, what their powers probably are, like, or who they are, where they belong. It really works. And then each of the environments that they go to, because they do this kind of hop around Etheria and go to different places, they all looked different and unique and fun, and it was all really beautiful, actually, some of the background art that they did.
Yeah, I mean a lot of their the different places that they went to were just I'm trying to think like what would have been my favorite. I think it was probably the water world,
Yeah.
the gate, and um I can't remember the name of that area now. So I'm sorry.
I don't remember the name of it either. Oh shoot. It was something very on the nose, and I can't remember what it was.
Everything about it is on the nose. It's like
Yeah.
like they were they kept that part, like the sort of really hard really, hey, we have an archer. Let's name him Bo.
Yeah. Natasa, she tosses nets.
Yeah. Like it's can you imagine like because for instance, Scorpia, who is one of the bad guys, and I liked Scorpia a lot too.
I really like her.
She's
She's one of my favorite characters.
she's just kind of awesome. Like she's on the one hand very like she's a big sort of dominating military woman, and on the other hand she's like, "Oh, come here and let's have a hug."
Yeah, and she's like, I'm really ditzy. Like, I don't know what's going on. There was this one gag where she's picking up bricks and putting them in a wall and they keep falling out, and she just grabs the other one and puts it in. Like, she's not paying attention at all. Just in the background while other shit is happening.
Oh,
She's like the comic relief, but also the muscle.
yeah. And she's so funny. She's really kind of like friendly and cool and I don't know. So, but of course she's a bad guy, but
All the bad guys really steal the scene.
yeah.
Like, I liked all of the villains, and some of them were almost more memorable than the princesses.
Yeah, I mean some of the princesses were pretty cool too. And you have to remember in the source material it was like they have different colored hair.
Yeah, that was it. And then a different outfit.
Yeah, it's just like there
But
was
they were all cropped at the boobs right here.
it's like but it wasn't like they had huge personality traits or different arcs or different anything, you know. It
Yeah.
was just, this one's the purple one, you know.
Yeah. Also the voice acting, because like the original, they had like 5 actors do all the voices for all the different characters. And this one, of course, they have a better budget and they had a whole voice direction team, and everyone's got these really unique voices and accents and things, so they're really their own personalities and characters.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean that's just really kind of cool and fun. And I can't remember because we started talking about Scorpia and I had a point to make and I completely forgot what I was even getting at. But like she's just cool. So that's what you should know is Scorpia is cool. Um and the different princesses, they also all have sort of different things going on and they look different. And this seems to be sort of the issue that there isn't one body type, there isn't one um like anything. Everybody it looks like
Everyone's
normal
unique. They
people.
have their own silhouettes in a way.
Yeah. like it, and nobody's like better or worse than anybody. It just
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, it just sort of makes sense. It's like if you went out into the world, people look different. Not everybody
Yep.
looks like not everybody looks like we're all there to be made into identical plastic molds and then sold over
Yeah.
counter, as cheaply as possible.
It felt more human and real that there were just a variety of different kinds of people in the show.
Yeah, I think when they went to Perfuma's world, like I saw like pregnant women walking around and you know,
They
it's
even had like a bunch of non-human, like they had some people with horns, some people had hooves or tails, or like they had people with claw hands, and there's people like it's all kinds of different weird creatures alongside just normal human looking people too.
I hear a kitty.
Yeah, there's a kitty having a fit over here. Okay, all right. Go ahead. She just wanted out of the office.
So So I'm trying to think is like if there's like anything we haven't really covered as far as the show itself.
It's really hard to talk about the story without spoilers, but
Mm,
I have said that it reminds me a lot of if you enjoyed Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like that, but it's a little more condensed because
mhm.
it's clearly not as long as that, but the writing is on par with that.
Yeah, actually, I thought the same thing. And it's funny because they do have these like nods to other shows or other things. Like I noticed like nods to Star Wars
I was gonna
season
say there
4.
was a Star Wars reference when they met Seahawk.
Yeah.
There's a straight up Han Solo reference, like right off the bat.
They're like, and this is what we're gonna, yeah, but just like different things like that. I think I saw like a Buffy one once and I'm trying to remember because like I took note of it at the time, like, oh, I know what you're referencing. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's one of those sort of nods to the older people. Like, an 8-year-old isn't necessarily going to get this, but it's
yeah.
going to be kind of a cool little Easter egg, if you want to call it that, to grown-ups.
I
So,
think they even kind of made fun of how on point all the names are, like on the nose everything is. They
mm,
they threw a couple of little like, haha, we know this is ridiculous, but that's just this world and what it's like.
yeah, that's what they do here.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think it's really cool. I would definitely recommend it. Um, I'd recommend it to anybody who either likes cartoons or like these kind of characters or whatever. And I guess we can move from here to sort of talk about maybe why people saw a good cartoon and it had a shit fit. I
Yeah. Or before they even saw the cartoon and had a shit fit.
which is, I mean, I guess on the good side, it got me to watch it, and I wouldn't
Same.
have watched it. I wouldn't have bothered to watch it, otherwise. So,
I don't know. I don't know why, because I think if something like Avatar had come out around this time, they would also be having a shit fit about the lessons that were in it because it was pretty standard. I don't know, but
mm,
there were I saw people taking screen grabs of like, oh, there's two lesbians in the background holding hands in the prom episode, off in the distance for 1 second. It's gonna corrupt the or there's a canon gay couple in like the main cast, which isn't really the main cast, and uh for some reason the same people who claim I have no problem with gay people are saying that's a bad thing.
yeah, which is which is just bullshit. Like, if you grew up as I did and you weren't like arrow straight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird that you never that gay relationships or people who don't fit gender binaries are seen as some sort of subversive kind of thing that we should throw under the rug and not talk about and not be like
Yeah.
that. The judgment is in there, it's baked in. Like, if you would see a heterosexual couple but not a homosexual couple, there's an obvious reasoning behind that. Like, one is
Yeah.
obviously considered, I don't know, nefarious or bad somehow or shameful.
Well, when I hear that stuff, it makes me think of the same things that you hear growing up. The religious conservatism that's just like, no, you can't keep that around my kids or they'll turn gay or turn trans now as the big deal or gender fluid. Oh no. Um, just gender non-binary, like it's a threat for some reason.
Hey, Vadim is in the chat. Hi, Vadim.
Hey, Vadim.
How's it going? uh, yeah, I kind of just like eyeball the chat here and there. um, so yeah, I mean, it's and like I said, for a show that's so girly, like I think I said to you before even we started, this is like if Gilmore Girls had superpowers kind of show.
Yeah. And
Like this,
also, l like, it's definitely not attacking femininity in any way or saying it's bad. There are feminine, like, hyper feminine characters in this, and it's totally normal.
yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, I'm gonna be sparkly over here. I'm gonna be a cute fairy now and throw flowers around. Like, let's all be together and then we could go to prom. You
Yeah.
know, this is not, there's nothing masculine about this, but it's the idea of basically guys saying that we have to sort of police the way that femininity is expressed and taught to girls, little girls. Like, it has to be about what we think that the gender roles should be, and they should be about what we like, aka boobs. Like,
Yeah. It's just like if you don't make this, which is weird for me, they complain that it's not catered to like a straight male audience when it's a show for little girls.
yeah. And it's about, I think, this whole sort of moving on from, back when men had all the chips like in their basket and they could make, even if there was a show about girls, it was a show about girls that men made
Yeah.
and wrote the characters, and therefore everything was sort of seen through this lens. I don't want to say the male gaze and have people go crazy over here, but that's kind of what it's about. And now it's like, do you understand that when women or gay people get together and consider for themselves what they think femininity is, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not going to be our metric is boobs, like, and that's it.
Yeah. There's a I notice a lot it's kind of from that time period, 80s in general, because I'm also into D&D and other nerd stuff. And a lot of the design from male artists of female characters has that same big curly hair with the big boobs out and the their midsections are showing, or they all have that same Barbie doll figure and it's very samey and it's kind of boring, honestly.
Mm. Yeah, like, and it's just, I do think that whatever femininity is, and it's a little different for everybody, but it's not like, oh, you have a B cup, not a triple F cup, therefore you have less of it. Like, that's not how it feels to a woman. So it's not, it just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense that that would be how things are. But there's going to be this sense of policing it, and the sort of, I don't know what you call it, the outrage brigade of white men being outraged about things has been a pain in the ass for a while, but for a long time at least they were sticking to their own shit.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times where they really just had a complete hissy fit over something that had nothing to do with them. Like, you didn't watch the original.
I highly doubt that the most vocal critics of it watched the original and cherished it the way that they claim.
Like, no.
Like it's hard for me to imagine the quartering sitting there as a child watching She-Ra and being really excited about it.
No, yay, She-Ra's on. No, 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 no. Like,
Yeah.
He-Man was gay enough that, and he was plenty gay, and that's cool. Like, I have no problem with that. But yeah, but there was like no way. There's no way that these sort of like gender policey types were just hanging out watching She-Ra,
Yeah.
on a Saturday, being like, yeah, this is the shit. Bitchin'. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't it. So it's like going back in time and deciding, well, okay, we didn't watch that and we didn't give a shit about it, but at least it was telling girls what we wanted it to tell girls, which is be pretty and everybody look the same, but with
Yeah.
different colored hair. Like,
Yeah.
apparently. Be like what we would hope all women would try to be like or aspire to be like, as opposed to be like what you are.
Yeah.
Cool
There
about
was such an idealistic thing going on where it's all like, this is what the ideal woman is and this is what the ideal man is. It feels kind of propaganda-y to me. It's uncomfortable. This kind of everyone has to fit the same mold thing.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot better where people are different and look different, uh, and they look different in ways that are reasonable. Like, too, like, it makes sense that somebody who is a captain in a military, has sort of risen through the ranks. It makes sense that that person would be very strong. And like,
Yeah.
we're talking about Scorpia again because she's awesome. But also,
The
like,
short hair, like if she's fighting all the time in the front lines with her claw hands because she's a beast with claw hands, she probably wouldn't hair flying in her face.
like, yeah, like in the idea that that's not where we're going off. Like, it's okay to have claw hands and a scorpion tail that can sting people as long as you also have boobs. And as
Yeah.
long as you're also like, we'll make sure everybody knows that you're evil because we'll put the green eyeshadow on, and
The green eyeshadow from here to here all the way up to the eyebrow and super high cheekbones and also a size like 0 waistline.
yeah. I mean, just nobody looks. The original show, everybody looked a little ridiculous.
Yeah. It was almost drag levels. Like even when we say it was gay coded, the original I think does so well with the gay community because a lot of that would not look out of place at a drag show.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to go to, people who are gay and of a certain age will know what I'm talking about when I say I grew up. My nana had a little place right outside of Provincetown, and so every summer I would be there, and yeah, like, it's a little camp.
Yeah.
It was kind of campy. Like, there was like a gay camp vibe there. And Oh my goodness, Bo.
Bo is the most extra. They made him look less ridiculous in the reboot.
Oh my God, because the porn stash and the big heart, like his heart even
Yeah.
kind of looks a little less, I'm a Care Bear, and more like
Yeah.
part of the outfit.
And it's not like around molded around each of his pecs. Like
Yeah, it was God bless. I love them both actually. Like
yeah.
in different there are different things to sort of say about sort of the campy kind of thing. It wasn't good, but it had a certain charm to it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bash on the old one. Like back in those days, and I've said this to people too, like you want everybody to look like Batman and Robin? Would
Yeah.
you like that aesthetic to come back? The 80s or 60s Batman and Robin? We could all have the little tiny little shorts and leotards and stuff. That would be cool, right? Like
Spandex over like spandex underwear over just a bodysuit on everybody.
yeah. That's we should just have that. Like, we'll get Christian Bale and we'll put him in
We'll
little
give him
blue.
bat nipples again. Bring back bat nips.
And the cod piece.
Yeah.
Nice. But nothing in the world will beat Robin in those like tiny
Oh my
little
god.
green shorts and the little green boots. It's like, oh, I loved it. Oh, I love that.
It's campy, it's got its charm, and I think it's funny that the people who dislike the new one are like, "Oh, well, we just don't wanna see the source material get disrespected or just people, make your own thing, don't use our source material," and it's like, it doesn't destroy the '80s cartoon. You could still go watch it in its entirety on Netflix right now if you wanted to.
Yeah. And you could watch the 60s Batman. And I have, and I love it. And ironically, I fucking love it. But I kind of expect that we're not always gonna stick with that. Like, we're gonna move
Yeah.
through different things as well, and thank God, because I just don't think Christian Bale could pull that shit off the way that Adam West
Times change and
did.
aesthetics change.
That's alright.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is about policing gender roles, and this is about people being very defensive about change and about who's in charge of deciding these things. And
Yeah, they were very upset that it was an all-female writer's room. And they were like, "How is this any different from all male?" And it's like, "Well, you never bitched about the all-male writer rooms, so."
yeah, I'm in watching it, I did have sort of that feeling for a minute. I think it was when I was watching The Promise that like this must be like what it had been like if I had been a dude in the 80s. Like
Yeah,
with shows that had a couple of girl characters, but was all about men and all about guys and all about dudes. And then you'd have these like girls that show up a little and
yeah.
the main character was we're girls and now we're leaving. Like, and that's it. Yeah. And I don't think that it's hard to explain how weird that is, like to people who never had to experience that. Like when I was little, um Star Wars was the huge thing, and the kids would get together and everybody would be playing Star Wars, right? And pretending to be Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and this person and that person. And
Yeah.
like, there's one girl.
And that's all you get. You get the one girl, and that's who you get to be. You wanna be something for Halloween, you gotta be Leia.
'Cause it
Luckily, I grew up in the 90s, so there was a little more variety, but I mean, like, shit, that was when the prequels came out, and it's like, well, there's Princess Amidala. Do you want that? Or
Ooh.
Queen Amidala, I'm sorry. Prequels are bad.
Yeah. So, but then but that was, like, with every cartoon, it was with every sort of adventure show, you'd have these sort of, 1 or 2 girl characters, and everybody else would be guys, and you just sort of dealt with that, you just sort of learned to live with that. Even now, if you go through Target, you can see where the girl, toys are from the other side of the fucking store because
Like
it's
a
bright
neon
fucking
pink
pink.
beacon. Yeah.
Like
I think all of us as girls have probably gone through a phase in our lives where we were just like, fuck pink, fuck the color pink. I'm so tired of pink. Pink everything.
Oh, yeah. I think every girl has sort of a weird relationship with pink.
And it's weird because I've hit that circle back around where I went from I hate pink to like pink is my favorite color now.
Yeah. So, uh, so I don't know, but it's good, and I guess that this is the world that we live in now where grown men are gonna have make money off of outrage about little girl things, and
Yep.
I'm just gonna have to sit there and say, yeah, fuck off and leave the girls alone. They're doing fine. This is good.
Well, there's been a trend for a while in our I think in our culture of just shitting on things girls like
Mhm.
Twilight or My Little Pony or um Justin Bieber, boy bands, like all of those things are constantly shit on, and it's like, can you just let little girls do little girl things? Just let them have their things. Stop
Yeah.
trying to capitalize on being outraged about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's not like dudes don't have their things. And it's not like dudes' things are so great and intelligent and smart. Like, I've recently started reading romance novels and I'd never read them. Like, and I read everything, everything from the box of cereals to the whatever. Put it in front of me and I'll read it. But I never really got into romance novels, and I've only just sort of started like looking at them and thinking about them, and the things that people will tend to say about them, like they're formulaic, is totally true.
Yeah.
So is guy stuff. Like, do we want to hear about another uh, cop who has alcohol and authority problems and is either divorced or having problems? Like, this is new. Oh my God, new territory here. He's gonna, like, are you?
Yeah.
It's all the same formulaic shit. That's what most genre stuff is. And I'm not saying that even in a bad way. It's just people sort of like these familiar stories and these familiar genres when they're having an escapist moment for themselves,
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like it's like literary or entertainment junk food.
Yeah.
Like that's what and I think people, you know, give romance novels a bad rap and they're really like not I don't know, I'm not unapologetic. I love love stories and things. So,
Mm. Yeah. And there's no reason like not to. I hadn't done them before, and I think part of it is because when you're a girl, you're sort of convinced that girl stuff is bad. It's
yeah.
by definition. And like you don't want to do that, and then you go back years later and you say it's no dumber than anything else. Like,
Yeah. It's like look at all of the stuff I missed out on because I was shamed out of it.
yeah. So so those are, I don't know. But yeah, so watch She-Ra and enjoy it because it's good and it's a good show.
Yep. It's a great show. And if you have kids, I think they will love it too.
Yeah. So, so I think we can. I also wanted to talk about the book, The Ember Worlds by YouTuber Gwen-No-Fear or VG Stellar, because anybody who likes fantasy or sci-fi will really like this book. It was really good. And I was so glad that it was really good because I was like, oh my God, I know this person. If I read it and it sucks, what am I going to do?
That's kind of embarrassing, yeah. Awkward.
It's not going to work. But this was good. Like I was so impressed. I'm always impressed by people who are able to keep multiple storylines and multiple characters going at once, and it makes sense, and it's like it keeps driving the story forward. So I don't know, like I don't want to get into it if like you're going to be like, all right, I'll just sit here and listen to you ramble. um So, but you did mention that you like sort of fantasy stuff. My
Yeah.
favorite genre, I think, is probably urban fantasy. Like if I need something for to just sort of have pure escapism, that's the sort of stuff that I go for. And this is a little more pure fantasy, pure sci-fi, where there's different sorts of worlds and there's different like planets, and some of the planets have sort of this sort of magic vibe to them, and some are more advanced, but they're all in this one solar system. And but there's like a larger story that embodies all of them. So it was really cool. It had a lot of really good characters. The action kept coming. It was interesting, and it had like nods to sort of traditional uh, fantasy things like dragons and cities that are like a lot of different fan. If you've read enough fantasies, then you'll have gone through like the cities full of zombies or ghosts theme, or the dragons thing. And this had all of them, but it had sort of a different take on it. So that's another thing I recommend. That's because it was good. It was very, very good, and people should read that.
I should read more books in general, so I might have to check it out.
Yeah. And it's available on Amazon. All right. And so I don't know, unless anybody has like questions from the chat.
I saw somebody ask if I could do YouTube now. People have been trying to get me to come on YouTube for a while. You're the person that's broken the YouTube barrier here.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm very glad to have done that for you. It's not as scary as you think.
It's just it's different, and also I know that I mean I'm dating a YouTuber, so I know that it's not always the best platform.
No, it's pretty shitty, but on the left, I think we have a lot of like we just get together and group hug each other constantly.
Yeah.
Especially because for the last few years, it's been lonely.
Yeah, I used to be one of those cringy anti-SJW people too.
Mm.
I didn't give anyone on the left a fair shake on YouTube until probably the past year or two, and now I'm like, oh, I've been missing out on all these great people who are actually nice and really cool.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the worm was going to turn eventually. We just had to sort of wait it out, I guess.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, no, it's good to have you aboard. But yeah, like I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's always good to have more people. This is a good time for people who have a sort of lefty kind of vibe to them, um, to sort of come and check stuff out. So it would
I
be cool.
might have to get started.
Mm.
Someone in the chat asked if there's a property from our childhood that you wish you would have a new shot with a new take.
Gem.
See, I never watched Jim.
Like, but I want, and I think the reason for that is that they did such a fucking bad job with
I didn't watch the
whatever.
reboot either, but I heard everyone didn't like it.
It was, because the original Gem was one of those sort of rare animals of the 80s where, like, Jem herself was a sort of kick-ass professional person. You know, she had her own business, she had her own thing going on, she was talented. Um, and then they sort of took that and made that into a completely different thing where she wasn't in charge anymore and she wasn't like this powerful person who was doing her own thing and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like, well, this really sucks that you took something and made it completely different in this, but like not from like an aesthetic way, but from a story way, and it sucks. Like, and nobody's gonna like this. So
Yeah. Trying to think of anything from my childhood. I would like to, maybe because I feel like the X-Men franchise has been so thoroughly just mishandled. I would like to see the old X-Men cartoon that came out when I was a kid get a like a good reboot
mm,
of that with good writers and everything, because it was a good cartoon and I'd like to see something like that come back because I feel like X-Men has been so bad for like, I don't know, 10 years or more, and they've
yeah,
just the new movies I'm not really impressed with at all. I'm scared for the latest one. I don't even know if it's out yet, but I don't know if I want to see it.
yeah. I think I kind of lost interest somewhere along the road. I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop watching these now.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, and I'm just, yeah, I'm not gonna see the next one. But my favorite character is Jean Grey and Phoenix, and so they're doing the Phoenix thing again, and it's probably gonna be bad. So
I always liked Rogue. They did a really weird shit with Rogue too.
yeah, and the original movies that they came out with was it
Yeah.
was strange.
So I guess that's our answer to that. So one more question, and then I think that's probably it for the night. I need to go finish my wine. Like, you guys, come on. I don't want to get to the point where I'm like drunk and talking.
Bad idea. Oh no, people are talking about that stream. I don't want I don't want to bring that up.
Okay. Will I marry? I would if I wasn't already married, Comrade Willow. You know I would. She's fabulous. Finish it here, drunk talk.
Drunk and talking.
This is what I'm like when I'm not drunk and talking, Adam. Come on. It doesn't get better. All right, well, I'm not seeing any more. Are you proud of me for not being a reactionary anymore? Are you proud of Jackatron?
I don't know who that is.
I think we're all proud of you, Jackatron.
I mean, if you're not a reactionary, yeah, that's a good thing in general.
Yeah. And I'm proud of anybody who can sort of break out of a bad place. You know what I mean?
It
It
helps to switch from being negative all the time to kind of start looking at the positives.
so, and what do we hope for in the next She-Ra season?
Mm, I want to see where they go more with like the relationships between characters, of course, because everything is so character driven. I'm really interested to see mainly what they do with the villains because I feel like there's a big arc already, and I'm not sure where they could go from there. But I'm really, really, I don't know. Like I can't wait for season 2 now because I gotta know what happens.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it without
Spoiling everything.
spoiling everything.
Yeah.
I like Catra the best. I want to see
Yeah.
Catra again, and more unicorns.
More Swift ones.
And
How many episodes does it have? I think it's like 13 episodes.
yeah, I think so. And yeah, it's available on Netflix, and it's cool. So, on that note, I'm terrible at ending things.
Me too.
So we could keep going on, like going, we need to stop, we need to
Yeah.
stop. But but I think I'm just gonna end it here. But thank you, um, everybody, for hanging out, and I will see you probably next week, same time. And if everybody bugs Sarah enough, she'll probably start YouTubing too.
Maybe. But until then, I'm available on Twitter and Twitch. So
All right, cool. So, bye.